frog colors. Everybody's got to know what color frog to throw, because frog fishing is one of my favorite ways to catch bass, and I'm sure it's going to be yours once you start catching some, if you haven't already. And if you have, then you're watching this because you want to catch more and you want to see what's in this frog box. I've got my new Cash and Icon frog rod here. You want to throw on a bait caster. You want to have a bait casting reel. You want to have 50-pound Sunline X Plasma or whatever your favorite 50-pound braid is. And then you're going to have the frog on there. So I'm going to just pull up my box right here, and I'm going to walk through each of these colors and kind of explain to you why I'm going to throw different colors in different situations. Now, first of all, we have to establish there's basically two types of frogs. You're going to have a poppin' frog like this right here, and then you're going to have just a regular original, this is the Spro Bronze I65. It's the original frog, and it's got a pointed front on it. That's kind of, going way back to like the snag proof. They were pointed fronts because they came through any kind of matted vegetation that you could find. You could throw that frog. You really couldn't put any other bait in that matted vegetation because a lot of it had moss or some kind of algae on it. And if you tried to put a Texas rig or some other bait in there, it's just gonna get all mossed up. No good, no good. But you could take a frog, because it's gonna sit on the top of the water, and you could go across the top of it, and those fish that are laying under there, poof, come up there and smash it. And then we found out that you could walk a frog, and the Spro Bronze Eye walks very well. Once you found out you could walk the frog, then they started making popping type frogs. Those have gotten very popular. Spro's got the Bronze Eye popping frog as well. And then they got bigger and smaller ones, and there's all kind of crazy frogs out right now. But anyway, the colors are important to some degree. Now I'm gonna start with the regular original Bronze Eye frog, and I feel like you need 3 basic color selections. Now the details of those colors are not as important. Some of that comes into personal preference. Some of it's just fun to play around with different colors. But you want to have a shad color, a bluegill color, and then you want to have straight black. Straight black is by far one of my favorite frog colors. Just that black silhouette. As you can see, I've got a whole section here of nothing but black frogs. That is what a new black frog looks like. And that is what a black frog looks like once you catch a whole crap ton of fish on one. They get all scarred up on the back, and they just look like they went through a sandpaper machine, because that's what the inside of a bass's mouth is like. But that's the black one. It looks, I think it's just more like a shadow. I use those clear water, stain water, dirty water. The black frog is probably my #1, my go-to, what I start with, and it's just really, really, really good. The other one is the shad color, like the opposite of the dark and the black is going to be the shad color. This is a good shad color. It's nasty shad. This is another newer one. It's got that sparkle on the bottom, but these brighter colored bottom, more of the shad colors, very effective in the springtime, April, May, when that shad spawn is just is going on, just when it's finishing up. The white frog, really good at that time of year, because a lot of that shallow vegetation in the banks where you're going to be throwing the frogs, that's where those shad are going to be spawning. So the shad spawn, definitely one of the best times to throw the shad color. But also, whenever there's dark water, kind of that tannic looking water, Florida water, there's a lot of places in the south that have that tannic, darker water. White frog is great in that color water. I don't know why, it just is. It's one of them things I've seen over the years. And then the clear Chartreuse might be my all-time favorite in a shad color, especially when the water was real clear. That thing just looks so pretty in the water. And then bluegill definitely is a must-have. Bluegill colors, Killer Gill, one of my favorites for sure. And then this color right here is one they did an exclusive for Gander Mountain back in the day, but I really like that orange belly. I think it's red ear, that's what they call that. And then this one with the orange belly or yellow belly, I like that one as well. And I even put green pumpkin. I throw that sometimes. It's different than black because it's kind of translucent, and it just has that kind of green pumpkin-y look to it. So that's one of the reasons I like those. Those are kind of the ones I fish. And then this crazy one right here, I think it's Outback. I think that's what that's called. That thing is, I like that. I've caught a lot of fish on that, especially when you get some stain in the water and you still want to have kind of a bluegilly looking color. Caught a lot on that as well. But then when we get into the poppin' frogs, the times I'm gonna use poppin' frog over top of the regular walking original Bronze I would be when there's a little ripple on the water and I want more disturbance. Then that poppin' frog is really gonna boosh, boosh, boosh. It's gonna move more water. If I'm fishing open water and I want that frog to cause more disturbance, I'll use the poppin' frog there. If the cover's not too thick and I can walk the poppin' frog through whatever cover I'm fishing on the bank, I'll use the poppin' frog. I think that there's times that the poppin' frog will outfish the regular frog, 5 to 1. But then there's times when they want that more subtle frog, and then this will outfish the poppin' frog. So to me, you have to have both of them. But the color system really with the shad black and the bluegill patterns, it kind of holds true to the poppin' frogs as well. So I'm gonna go. This is here's the popping version of this is I can't even remember the name of this color. I think it's Amazon or something like that. It's real bright. And what Dean did when he designed this frog, Dean Rojas, he put a little light spot on a lot of the heads of the colors so that you can visually see the bait when it's in the water. You can see that cupped mouth, and if it's turned sideways, you can see that little top part. That really, the fish really don't see that, but that's why that little chartreuse accent is right there, because the fish is gonna see this, but you are gonna see that. That's all you're gonna see sitting above the water, is just that little chartreuse. So it's easier to spot and see where your frog is. If you have one blow up, it's easier to see if it's gone, if you have that little deal on there. But sometimes when you're fishing the black frog, whether it's the poppin' version or the regular, they blow up on it. Man, I'm not checking squat. I'm just gonna reel down and crack them. Sometimes the frog comes flying because the fish didn't get it, but more times than not, those fish are gonna get it and eat it, and then you're gonna crack them and get it. So there's their black version that I'm gonna use there. I may use some other darker frogs. I really like the natural red. That's one of my favorite colors in the poppin' and the regular. So I keep a couple of those. This is a new Diamondback color. I'm really gonna use that probably more than the green pumpkin, because it has that little teeny orange accent in the mouth, which I really like. I think that's a neat little accent. And then the Diamondback color on it, it just looks, I think it looks natural. And the fish, if they happen to ease up there close to it, they're gonna see some kind of scale pattern on the side of the bait. I just think that visually looks like something in nature. And I think that would be a reason for the fish to go ahead and take it in. There's my natural red and the poppin' frog. But in the shad colors, white is really good when there's a little stain in the water, or if you got really low light conditions. If I'm gonna be fishing that shad spawn and let's say it's light rain or overcast, or you got first thing in the morning when that shad spawn deal is going on, I want that bright white, real easy for the fish to see. Once the light gets up a little bit more, I'm gonna be fishing more of a natural looking shad color. This is, I think one of these is Speck, this one right here, and then this little color right here looks really good as well. It's got that green back to it. Just a real natural looking shad color. I think those are important to have in your arsenal as well. And then where's the others? We've got and then I mentioned the Diamondback again, one of my favorites. So just make sure you have all three categories covered in popping and the regular Bronze I frogs. You won't have any problems getting out there and dialing in exactly what color those fish want. And just to let you know and go over it, one more time. When you're fishing a frog, and let's say you have 2 or 3 fish miss that bait. If I have 2 fish miss a frog in a row, that tells me I'm throwing the wrong color. Because they're running up to that bait to eat it, and then at the last second they realize something's not right. It's not quite the right color, and they're just gonna hit and miss at it. That tells me I'm throwing the wrong color. I'm gonna go from the shad category to the straight black, or I'm gonna go from straight black to a bluegill color, or bluegill to a shad color. I'm gonna change categories and go to a different color whenever I get a couple blowups that miss it and don't get the bait. Sometimes, first thing in the morning, you're gonna be throwing one color and having success. Then you might have your bite rate slow down, or you might have a couple fish miss the bait. That tells me you might need to change color later in the day as the light conditions change. You know, the shadows are gonna be totally different later in the day, so you might have to change up colors. So just keep that in mind with your frog colors. You're gonna catch more fish, and by all means, when they eat that thing, jack them. Set the hook as hard as you can, because you're gonna be throwing braid, and it's a lot of fun. So go out there, have fun with that frog. Get down there, hit me in the comments, and let me know what other frog related questions or what other fishing related questions you want to see, and I'll do my best to answer those.